host to my live. Hi, I'm Kira858, and today we'll bring you a brand new TTRPG series called Reclamation. Of course, to give you a little bit of a vibe check, if you're interested in, like, say, Game of Thrones with a little bit of Animal Crossing, maybe a little bit of Civilization, that kind of gives you a little bit of a taste of what's coming in with this episode. We are super excited to come forward with this story, sharing many of the individuals here. You probably see them from Riverwood Academy, as well as some new faces, as well as some from Lords of Faerun. And so with that, we're just going to have everyone introduce themselves, say who they're playing, and what projects they're working on. And we'll start first with the wonderful Adrian. Adrian, if you'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, not everything, maybe just give like a little name, a little hint, a little teaser,
sure.
and projects you're working on.
Hey everybody, I'm Adrian, and I am playing Jethrin Cloudpaw. So he is a paladin, and you should all love him because he's fantastic. And you can find me here on the Cookout, and you can also find me over at the Bear Pen. And if you want to check me out on Twitter to follow out all my projects and stuff, you can check out at the Adrian Bear or at the Bear Pen to see what I might be up to.
All right, perfect. Next, we have our wonderful DM, Zach. Zach, you'd like to talk about yourself? Well, we kind of know who you're playing because you're the DM, but and projects that you're working on.
Hello. As Kira mentioned, I'm Zach, and I will be playing the chorus of NPCs for this evening, and all evenings, hopefully, unless they decide to replace me, which would kind of suck, but could be possible, right? I'm not working on much beyond this campaign right now, so.
No problem. Next, we're going across to the wonderful Ree. Ree, you'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on.
Of course, hello everyone. I am at Big Dude Ree on the socials, where you can find out all the projects I'm doing and all that cool stuff. But tonight, I shall be playing the stoic Kashad Chiron, who will try and keep these people together.
Perfect. Next, we have the wonderful Ari. Ari, you'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on.
Hi, I'm Ari. You can find me over at Small Shadow Snack on Twitter, which has the vast majority of what I do. I'm here on the Cookout, and I'm also over on the Bear Pen. But tonight I am playing Shay, the wizard who does not want to give up his housework.
The perfectionist of dishes. Next, we have the wonderful Dai. Dai, you'd like to talk about yourself, who you're playing, and projects you're working on.
Yeah, hi, I'm Di. You can find me on Twitter at Dichromaniac. That's where I spend most of my time. And I'm playing Merovina, usually just goes by Mare, and she just really wants to be the good middle sister, and she tells her brother Kashad literally everything, even when she probably shouldn't.
Yes, that's the reason why. Never mind, I won't even go into that. Next, we have the wonderful Aaron. I would like to talk about yourself, where they can find you, and projects that you're working on, and who you're playing.
Hey, my name is Aaron. Unlike everyone else, for me it is morning because I am not in the United States. But I am playing Timmons, the much older than everyone else human butler, the best butler. I'm also on the Cookout. I'm the DM for Riverwood Academy. And if you're on our Discord, you'll notice my name is Gwen. You can catch me there.
Perfect. As for yours truly, I am Kira858. Of course, you can be able to find my content here on YouTube, as well as our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Kira858. You'll be able to find shows like Lords of Faerun, as well as the upcoming, this time show coming Gods of Color, as well as a few new projects that'll be coming in on upon the horizon. So if you would like, or you want to follow all of our content, just make sure to follow our Twitter at The Cookout TTRPGs for not just TTRPG related goodness, but also Die Hard Dice giveaways. And so with that, we'll follow the announcements out of the way and who everyone's playing. We're going to jump right into action and bring the story forward to our DM, Zach. So Zach, take it away.
Hello, and welcome to the Greek tragedy, although the players do not know it yet, that we have decided to call Reclamation. We are happy to have you here. there is a character who is currently in a criminal underground jail. So obviously, it is most natural for us to begin our story by checking in with literally everyone else. So, Kashad, what is your character up to right now? How is Kashad spending his evening now that the children have gone off to the races, as it were?
Kashad is attempting to stretch his mental muscles, so he has brought in one of the servants or anyone with a particular talent for dragon chess, and they are playing a game.
I would say you're playing Tunok. Go ahead and roll me an intelligence check.
Oof, that's not good. 9 plus 2, 11.
Though you don't feel like you're performing at your utmost this evening, somehow, in a series of 3 games, you managed to 2-0 Tunok, both games, in what you have heard is the minimum number of moves that you can possibly win a game of dragon chess in. You have somehow beat him twice in the minimum number of required moves.
Tunok, is something distracting you this evening?
No. It's kind of awkward, but I know it's really popular, but I've actually never played dragon chess before. This game's kind of hard.
Fine. Then we will end our game for this evening. How are things going around the manor?
Pretty well overall, I would say. I think your mother stepped out, so Belle and Domo went with her, as had previously been arranged. I have massive respect for you and your family. I wasn't overly thrilled about the recent animal caretaking situation that has been sort of thrust upon us the past couple of months. Sir, with all due respect, that obviously wasn't your idea.
It was not, but I do my best to encourage everyone to share their thoughts.
It was a unique idea.
It was. Have there been any accidents?
Just the one minor injury, nothing bad. But I think the 3 of us have kind of gotten a handle on it. I don't actually I suppose I probably shouldn't be gossiping, but to tell it true, I'm not the biggest fan of Mr. Slatewing, but his talents are obviously notable. It's been a big improvement since he took over.
Do you believe that this venture will pay out?
I'm not sure, sir. What are you looking for?
Jethrin seems convinced that he can train the beast to be of use militarily. I admit I don't know of anyone to do such a thing outside of the rare goblin. Perhaps you would know more than I do?
2 months ago, I would have said it was impossible. Now, I'm not so sure. Someone had the idea to perhaps go about breeding them together with some other more loyal animals. I can't say, but it makes a lot of sense to me.
Yes, well, hopefully you turn out to be correct. To be honest, the rearing of beasts has never been a strong suit of mine, even when I was a soldier.
Mine either. I know how to make a horse obey me, and that's about it, to be honest with you.
That is fair. Tell me, what is your experience with the more roguish types?
Well, back when I was a knight, I had to cut the hands off of one of them. Wasn't thrilled with that. It largely contributed to me thinking that perhaps being a hedge knight was not all that it cracked up to be. So I entered mercenary work, and well, then I encountered another roguish type who was stealing, I guess, from the granaries around town. It would have been great if he was like trying to feed his family or something, but apparently, instead of growing food, he just thought he could make some money selling food. I don't know. I hear there's spies that do a lot of good for the kingdom. I've never seen it, which I guess maybe just means they're doing their jobs. I don't know.
Yes, I suppose not being known would be very important. And what do you know of archery?
I'm decent at it. Clarabelle's better, who was part of my standard training. I learned how to hit the bullseye once in 10 arrows or so, and that was good enough for me.
I suppose that works. When you look around the manor, what do you think of its defenses? Are there any areas you believe could be improved?
Permission to speak freely, sir?
Of course.
Just about all of them.
Are there any more pressing than the others?
Yes. Well, there were a couple of men who came back with the latest round of refugees that you had found from Thudalonian borders.
Yes.
Yeah, two of them were trained swords. I think you should consider, once they've had some time to rest, whatever you think is appropriate, promoting them to being household guard. Perhaps put them on to standard guard duty. With the other projects that are going around, Domo and Tunok and Clarabelle and I just, well, we can't seem to fit that in.
Right, well, once they are properly settled, I give you permission to see what they're capable of. I imagine your judgment will be enough. If you believe they're competent, I will allow them to assist you. Paid, of course.
Okay. I'll have you a full report in a week. How does that sound?
That is acceptable.
Good.
Is there anything else on your mind?
Well, I don't mean to presume, but oftentimes, a household would appoint a captain for the guard, someone who was in charge and had delegated authority to marshal and issue commands in times of distress, and perhaps was a shift manager of sorts. I cannot tell you who to choose, obviously, but I think you should consider appointing one. It can be good for morale. It has its uses in terms of actual combat situations. And honestly, I think once it gets around town a little bit, it's the sort of thing that other nobles might pay attention to. That you're sort of taking yourself seriously, I guess you might call it.
I assure you I am very aware, and I've already begun my selection process.
Understood, sir.
Right, well, Well, I believe you have work to get back to, and I have pressing issues myself.
I see. I will try to work on becoming a better match. Gestures at the dragon chessboard.
Warrior must be balanced in both mind and body.
I agree. Just not my strong suit.
It is best to not have any weaknesses, but for now, focus on your duties.
Understood. And he leaves you.
If you find Shay or Holly walking about, please send them to me.
Very well. A few moments later, you hear, Shay? Shay? Ugh, I guess I'll have to track you down. You don't seem to be in your chair at the moment. Unfortunate. Abrea,
Yes.
we will check in with you. What is Abrea up to this evening?
So Abrea is outside with no name yet because they know that they were supposed to have to get used to the gray outdoors because, of course, no name yet is a velociraptor, and so will enjoy the outdoors a lot more than interior structures. So they're outside trying to show them like how to hunt like rabbits and other small game, and just showing them like, you know, the way of the land outside per se. I think that's probably what they're mostly doing, because they were going to go talk with Ian, but they decided they'll probably wait until another time.
Okay. You have collected about 3 rabbits. Mm-hmm. When you get the sense that maybe no name yet hasn't understood that they're only supposed to eat when they're hungry, they've just decided to start collecting rabbits because you taught them how to hunt them. About the 3rd one that's kind of piled in front of you, you realize that they're not actually eating them. They're just piling them in front of you.
So they all look down. He's like, wait, no. Wait, so this is about eating. You hunt to eat. Mm-hmm. So when you eat, so even though we have 3 now, we can eat some now and then eat some later. But it's all about food. You don't like eat to kill, because it's all about survival, right?
Starts eating the rabbit.
There we go. It's delicious.
He finishes one of them and moves on to the second one.
Oh wow. There we go. That was good thing we got 3 of them.
He finishes the second one and starts eating the third one.
Oh, okay. I really need to get used to how much you eat. Okay, we'll keep going and find some more. How about you try one next time?
By the way, No Name Yet is like about the size of a rabbit. You're watching their stomach expand in real time as they're munching these rabbits. Like,
they're like, wait, do you feel good? How does your stomach feel? Your stomach is like 3 times the size it used to be. Usually, I think that's what we call constipation, but I'm not sure. I want to make sure how you're feeling. Do you need to take a poop? Oh, you have the itis. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let me go. And so they'll go ahead and pick up No Name Yet. Says, well, I mean, did I used to be like this? Well, I think I still like that. If I eat too much, I get sleepy, but it makes sense. And they'll pick them up and then kind of like rock them back and forth as they take them. Do we have like a outside like stable or sorts where they could be able to sleep yet, or is still the primary sleepy residence Umbrea's room?
So if I remember correctly, so No Name Yet was still born very recently.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about wanting to construct something. I don't know that anyone has actually done that yet.
Oh,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
In that I'm not 100% certain. I know that everyone was saying that they need to sleep outside, but I was just like, wait, is there anything outside to sleep in just yet? So if there's nothing configured, they would take them back to the room. But
yeah, I don't think there's anything configured because you all had talked about building it, but Tunok, Domo, and Clarabelle, when they're on duty along with Slatewing, have been working on the improvements with the gold that Jethrin passed along to the Warg Pin, because that's the last place they were staffed, was that general project. So someone will need to talk to them at some point about making sure to take some time to get something built. Or honestly, if you're interested and you want to, I think Abrea would see some extra lumber around from that project. You know, you have a few trees on your property if you needed to. You could honestly try to build something if you wanted to. It wouldn't be like fancy and official, but you could take the initiative and like just cobble something together so they can get used to sleeping outside.
Oh, yeah.
Up to you. What would you like to do?
yeah, now Brea would definitely, if they could see items to configure together, they're like, I think I could do this. It's like working with wood, but it's not live wood, it's chopped up wood. I think I can manipulate it a bit. Yeah, they'll give it a shot.
Go ahead and start with an intelligence check. We're gonna do sort of a couple here.
Yeah, that's my lowest stat. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
To be fair, you are like 12.
Yes, which makes perfect sense because I rolled a 5 for the first roll.
Okay. So you've got this like general idea in your head of what it's going to be designed to look like. Go ahead and roll me an investigation for collecting together the materials to fit that design.
Okay. All right, here we go. Round 2. Okay, that is surprisingly much better. That is a 14.
Pretty good. All right. You believe you have your materials. And finally, we need like, I would take like an athletics or something like that to signify the actual labor going into like constructing this little thing.
Okay, athletics I'm good at. So, okay. That is... I was proficient in that. Another 14.
Okay. So you construct this thing, borrow a couple nails from the blacksmith, steal their hammer in the nails, kind of put it together, and you realize you have this little like box basically with 2 of the sides missing, so there's grass on the ground and then kind of like an open front to it, and you're like, problem is if I just kind of like poke this, it'll like fall over.
That's stable.
So you get the idea, you're like, we can fix that, and you basically like push it into the soft dirt. So it's in no way going to be a permanent structure. But like for tonight, definitely. For a few nights, probably would also work.
Okay.
Until like wildlife comes along to bother it, or it rains too hard, or something like that.
How big is the box? Was I able to make it big enough to where I could be able to sleep in as well, or is it just big enough for No Name Yet?
In this case, because you were trying to get it done tonight, it would only be big enough for No Name Yet.
Okay.
But the weather is decent out. If you wanted to grab your bedroll and just decide that you're going to stay outside tonight without like a specific roof, totally legit.
Yeah, I think that's what they'll do. So after they got it finished, it's like, phew, okay, I think this is the best I could do for today. Let me get a bedroll. And then you just hear the little feet go, poop, 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 as they head upstairs and go to their camping equipment, just take out their bedroll and lay it right next to the house that they just created. So they're not really going to fall. Well, how late is it right now? Is it just like evening, or is it like late night?
They went over to the bars already. at this point.
Oh, yeah. Did they be asleep?
So it's like, say probably 8-ish right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, around this age, this is probably where they start to sleep, like 11, 12 hours of sleep. So yeah, they are cocked out.
Okay, so Aubrey goes to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Roll me a perception check with disadvantage.
Oh, okay. Oh no, disadvantage. The first roll is a natural 20. Okay. Of course they would do this. Well, my perception is pretty good. Oh wow, that was a 19. Okay. Wow, thank you. I appreciate it. 19 plus 7? 26.
You wake up. You're super groggy. You don't feel like you've been asleep that long. And you realize that there's a pressure on your legs. You glance down. No name yet has left the little shelter, came over, and conked out on your legs.
Oh, what? I gotta build a better box. They just put their hands gently on no name yet and then fall back to sleep. Mm-hmm.
Shay, what are you up to at about 8 o'clock that evening?
I imagine he's finished whatever he was working on, has probably picked back up a book he was reading, is eating an apple and like walking to his room while he's reading with berries on his shoulder. Because he's alternating between letting berries eat part of the apple and him taking a bite out of the apple.
Okay. As you're doing this, you hear Tunok say, you know, it's kind of dangerous to walk and read, right?
I mean, I'm a wizard, and then he gestures to berries and goes, and he can shoot fire out of his mouth.
He can shoot fire out of his mouth?
He can't do it inside the house.
Shad's looking for you.
Where's he at?
In his room. He's probably in a good mood. He just got finished destroying me at Dragon Chess.
What? When you mean destroyed, how destroyed is destroyed? Was it like 3 moves or like 2?
5?
It's not all the way destroyed. He beat me in like 3 one time.
I don't really understand the game very well, but I'm not entirely sure how that's possible.
I don't either. All I know is that I don't understand the game either.
We should practice.
We should.
Cool.
I'm gonna go see Master Kashad.
Yeah. All right.
And he does turn, continues reading, and he's walking to Kashad's room.
Hello. Hope all is well.
He puts the book back in his. It is. Tunok said you needed to see me.
Indeed. Take a seat.
Oh no. He gingerly sits down, moves berries to the other shoulder.
Well, what do you think about the current state of things?
In what way?
Well, my sister's gone, but she has agreed to perform a service for the prince that is quite risky. Surely you have an opinion on it.
I mean, I have. It's very risky, and he'll either end up certain death or political theater, one of the two.
Do you believe it can be done?
Yes. But not without loss of life.
Interesting. Tell me, Shay, what are your goals?
I don't really have any right now.
No dreams or aspirations?
No, not really. I'd say it's a midlife crisis, but I'm not midlife yet.
No. I've noticed you prefer to do most household labor. Why?
And that's what you hired me for.
There are lots of things you are hired for. If you're a somewhat talented mercenary, do you not scour the fields to find opponents to fight or weaknesses to cover up?
I mean, there's a reason I left mercenary work to do what I do now. It just really wasn't that lucrative. Plus, my mom's a mercenary too. She's just better at it.
And why did you take to studying the arcane?
I have a talent for it.
Yes, do you not wish to have such a talent?
Well, I mean, it's not like I want to be the next, like, archmage or whatever, like, because I don't want that.
You know what you don't want? Just want to be a dishwasher?
For now, yes, until I discover what I want to do.
You are a very interesting person.
I mean, it's very kind to say.
I will not force you to do what you don't want to do. However, should your services be required, I trust you do not mind performing for the good of the house.
I'll do my job for the house. All I have to do is ask, Master Kashad.
Right. And how's your little friend doing?
Well, he can eat his weight in fruit almost every single day. He sleeps and he's unnervingly curious.
Has he been causing any trouble for anyone?
No, he just climbs on things and almost knocked the pans over, but it's fine.
Very well. I will not keep you from your business.
I was just gonna go to bed.
You may go to sleep.
Okay. Do you need anything else?
No, I will wait for the others to return, but don't believe I need anyone for that.
Thought you might like company or something.
Perhaps next time. There are a few things I wish to practice, and they can be rather unpleasant to watch.
Alright, I'm going to bed. Good luck with your practicing. Have a good night.
Good night.
Yeah, you rolled exceptionally well.
You said Shay? Who rolled? Me?
Abrea.
Oh, me. Oh, yeah.
You hear footsteps around you about this time.
They kind of like slowly peek one eye open to see who it may be. Outside?
You kind of sit up and look around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You see Tunok, whom you recognize, is kind of sitting against the back of the house, leaned up against it. He's got his sword belt off, kind of like sitting next to him. He's just kind of looking in your general direction, scanning. He kind of like raises his head. Oh, sorry. Just thought I'd keep an eye out while you're sleeping outside a little bit.
Oh, thank you. What? It's our home. We should be safe in our home, right? What time is it?
Pretty late, kid. Pretty late.
It feels like it. Like I swear I seen the moon. Why is there 2 moons? I'm sleepy. I'm going to go back to bed.
And then you fall back asleep.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, yeah. In the interest of the escalation of drama, Mayor and Timmons, let's check in on what you two are up to. You have recently walked into a house that is not yours and found that any occupants have recently left it. What would you like to do?
Well, it looks like this was a bust. Should we head back and try to find Jethrin? He was supposed to be keeping an eye out for us, right?
Oh, I don't know where Sir Jethrin might be. Some people were here. Do you think there's any value in trying to figure out where they went?
I mean, it's always possible they left clues. I don't know if we could... I mean, Jethrin was the one that found the information from the guard about this place. I don't know if going back to the guards and trying to get more information about where this place may have moved to, look around here.
I mean, it could be coincidence, but I am unnerved by the idea that we were told where to go, and it is not here.
Oh, I don't think this was a coincidence at all.
So, someone lied to Sir Jethrin?
People were here. I think they told Jethrin the truth, but then told everyone else that we were coming.
Oh. I would like to, because we came in through the back door, I would like to go through the house towards the front door, and on the way see if we see any signs of how they left, like which direction they were heading, or if anything was like left behind, because I don't know if they were in a very big hurry or...
Make me a perception check.
18.
19?
Yep.
You spot what looks like a sheet of paper. It's kind of looks like somebody tried to stuff it under the couch cushions and left a corner of it hanging out that you were able to spot.
I take it out.
Okay. It has like a series of weird numbers and almost like a drawing on it.
Oh, this is definitely not for me. I think I'll give this to you and I pass it over to Mayor.
Would I recognize any of this? The writing on there?
Until it's Thieves' Cant. It's not a version of it that you've ever used. So it's a little bit harder to make out, but you can tell that it's Thieves' Cant. Go ahead and roll me an intelligence check.
All right. Oh, it's a natural 20, so that's a 21.
It's a different address.
Oh.
Well, this apparently we were misled, or this is an address somewhere else to go. What do you think? Do I recognize the address? Is it familiar?
Is it nearby?
Roll me a general intelligence check, Mayor.
Oh, well, that's a 7.
You can make one too, Timmons.
See, I tried so hard to not need to roll an intelligence check. And yet, okay, I got a 1 because I have a -1 modifier, and 2 minus 1 is 1.
2 minus 1 is 1. That does check out. Doesn't seem familiar.
I mean, I have no idea what this is based on your description. How do you read this?
You sort of have a feeling about it, and you kind of have to speak it out loud inside of your head. The shapes all have a different sort of consonant meaning to it. It's sort of tricky. I can teach you if you'd like.
It sounds horrid. I'm willing to learn, but I think the only feeling I'm getting is a headache.
No, that's sort of by design.
Well, at least it's not just me.
No.
I would like to try and find this place rather than go back and say we walked in an empty building and left.
Especially now that we have a better idea of where to go. We got all dressed up for nothing. We might as well, put these disguises to some use.
Oh, that is true. Okay, Aaron has forgotten. What did we name our disguises? Can you remind me? I forgot.
Oh, I don't know if we named them. I knew you were
To be
old.
fair,
I was.
to be fair, we haven't used them with anyone, so we can make up new ones.
Yeah.
An old lady name.
I think, Mayor, you'd call yourself C, but I don't remember.
Oh, that's right.
I
It
don't
was
remember what
C.
Timmons' name
Yes.
was.
Thank you.
Timmons called herself Janice.
If it's not true, it is true now.
So, C and Janice off to wander the streets looking for this address. Maybe we could find someone who can point us in the right direction.
Could you write the address in common
Oh,
so that we could
course.
show the address to someone else, and also so I can see it?
Yeah, absolutely. Pull out like a bit of charcoal or something like that, and then on the back of the paper, scribble out the address in common.
Okay.
Yeah, if we go down the street and we don't see anything obvious towards us, I suppose we could stop by a local establishment.
Yes, maybe we'll overhear something, or have someone to ask about it. I mean, couldn't hurt, right?
I can think of many ways it may hurt, but not as much as it hurts my pride to just sit in an empty room.
Absolutely. We don't want to go back to Kashad empty-handed. You'd be so disappointed.
Yes. And as Timmons, as Janice starts to head towards the front door, like you just watch as like she's been standing, like she's an older woman, but she's physically pretty strong, or at least dexterous. But as she walks, you just watch mid-stride as her form kind of just hunches into like this frail old lady look, and it is spot on. Like she just kind of melts. Like you don't see Timmons anymore. You see Janice.
Taking a cue from Timmons trying to get into the the spirit of the disguises, Mare goes the opposite direction and tries to kind of look younger and maybe a little bit perkier, but it ends up just coming off sort of off-putting, and she kind of skips a little, and it's just not quite right.
Oh dear. I appreciate you escorting an old lady.
Oh, of course, madame. Shall we into the evening? Onward to the next adventure?
To the next adventure, dear. And I guess we're gonna go down the street. I would assume away, like from the direction that we came in. So if we came from the east, we would keep going towards the west. Or if we came from the south, whatever direction that we came from, we keep going the other direction.
Are you going in the direction of where you believe the address to be?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just because you've never been there, you can kind of like, okay, where is maybe this street at?
Yeah.
Then we can find a corner street. Okay. You head that way. You're entering a nicer area of town. You pass by.
If I remember correctly, I am dressed like some sort of like high roller dowager kind of figure, so I'm probably okay with that.
Yeah, you pass by what Timmons recalls is like a famous dressmaker that some of the ladies of the court go to.
Oh, these are quite nice.
Yes, they do beautiful work. I mean, but we should be fine. You look great. This is. Do we see any? Are there any other people on the streets, sort of walking in a specific direction, or are we sort of alone?
Roll me a perception check. Let's see what you notice.
It's an 8.
You're not sure what kind of establishment it is, but you see kind of down the street about half a block, 2 ladies walk into somewhere. You can't make out what the building actually is. It's kind of dark.
Is there anyone in the dressmaker shop, or is it closed?
It's closed for the evening. This is the kind of place that like shuts down at dark. Probably has like a wizard that can cast the alarm spell dedicated to protecting it somehow, like that type of joint.
No one here to ask. I guess that we just keep going.
We could, just to point out the 2 women sort of walking ahead. We could perhaps ask them if they know where the specific address is, or follow them for a while.
When I see the women, do I believe that they belong in this area, or can I get any vibes like they are?
You can't really get a vibe check because as you turn, they're walking like directly into a place. Mary caught them like walking into some sort of establishment she can't make out down the block.
I mean, you found a place that's open, and I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah, let's go see what's open around here. Maybe get a drink.
I hope they have a nice friend.
Oh, that would be lovely.
It's not a bar. It's just it's a board game night place. That's what it is. You walk in, we're like, hey, can we get brandy? And they're like, no, but we can deal you in Uno.
So.
Fantasy Uno.
Backgammon for everyone.
1 second. I'm looking something up. It's called Tal's Winery.
Glass of wine seems like a good place to see if there would be any leads or whispers on this speakeasy we're attempting to find.
Passive sight from the outside would show it to be pretty classy interior atmosphere. It's lit by a few sort of, I guess, witch light or minor light spell style stones. They don't glow with the full brightness of like a normal light spell. It's more like a 3-foot radius and then kind of throwing dim light through each of the tables that's kind of inside. You do see one sort of bar area where there's a bartender sitting behind, and you see 2 servers currently walking around to the different witch lit tables. It's expensive looking.
Your paper didn't say this Tal's Winery, did it?
I mean, this isn't the. No, it. This, DM, this isn't this address. The address on the paper doesn't match the address of this winery, does it? This isn't.
Oh, you headed in the general direction, but you're not even to the correct street exactly yet.
Well,
is there anyone else on the street?
When you moved over, no.
Well, what do you think? Should we keep trying to find this place, or do we think we could find any information here?
I think that we should continue to find the place. I think
right.
that intel will be better than what we may overhear at a fine establishment such as this.
Oh, but
As you two are talking, a well-dressed man and woman turn from another street onto the street and start headed towards you.
Beautiful. Give me just a second. I'm going to ask for a little bit of time. Can I have that note, please?
Yes, of course.
I think you see that there. And I'll take the note and make sure that the thieves' cant side is down so that it cannot be confused with the common side. And then I'm going to, as they get close enough to naturally approach them, I'm going to try and approach them.
The man is well dressed in like cocktail attire. The woman has a long flowing red dress. And the man has what looks like some kind of saber at his hip that's probably functional, but a little more ceremonial looking than like, I've come to battle sort of scabbard. And as you walk up to them, Janice, as you walk up to them, they both just sort of stop and look at you.
I give a small little curtsy and I'm like, oh, I do apologize for interrupting your beautiful evening. I was wondering if you could help an old woman out.
No apologies necessary. You see the man returns like a very small bow. He doesn't exactly know who you are, but kind of inclines his head a little bit. Certainly, how can we assist you this evening? Have you run into problems? Are there ruffians in the streets or something, perhaps?
Nothing quite so dramatic. I'm afraid I'm just a bit lost.
I see.
Oh, my handwriting is so bad. I'm going to read whatever Mayor's put in common out loud. Rather than showing them, no, I'm reading it out.
The woman speaks up and she says, oh, that address seems familiar. Have we been there before? Well, I've definitely been to that street before. You're right, it does sound a bit familiar. You can see there.
Even if
thinking,
you can only give me the
figure it out.
streets, that would be absolutely helpful.
Do you mean the direction of the street? You've said which street. Sorry.
Yes, that is.
Yes.
You'll forgive me.
You'll want to go 3 that way.
3.
That will
this
take you to the
direction.
street. And the woman kind of like pats his arm, like, "Oh, I've got it." Sort of gesture, and she's like, "Oh, the general. That's his son's residence, isn't it?" "Oh, yes. I suppose it is. Ah, he often throws parties there, but I surely would have heard. There's no party this evening. Did you have business with the general's son?"
Well, it is just a minor matter. I do appreciate the assistance. You said 3 this way, and points back down the way that they said.
Ah, would you like us to escort you? We would be happy to do it.
You are incredibly too kind. I would not want to impose on your evening, especially as you both.
I'm afraid that I must insist, as long as that is all right with you.
Mare's gonna come, or she'll be like, Mother, why are you bothering these poor people? Come now. It's time to go. I'm so sorry. My mother, she gets a little confused sometimes, and I'm so sorry that she was bothering you this evening. But no, I can take it from here. Thank you so much.
She has been no bother. And, miss, if you don't mind me saying so, I hope you do not receive this as impolite, but you should be respectful to your elders. It is extremely important.
No, of course. No, I absolutely. No, Mother, please. Like, I apologize for my impulsivity and my rudeness.
Oh, my young little C is a good girl. Not to worry.
Very well. Well, you take care of yourselves.
You as well.
Thank you deeply.
Should you become lost, we will be at the wine bar for the next hour and a half or so. You can find us there as long as you can make your way back.
And I don't mean to be rude. What was your name again?
My name?
An old lady forgets.
Ah, yes. My name is Damien.
Damien, a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. Damien Spellweaver. Damien Spellweaver. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Okay. And I turn to his, what I'm assuming is his wife. And you, dear.
Yeah. Mare kind of curtsies.
Does the wife give you a name?
She does not. If you would like to ask her, you obviously are still in the interaction, you could, but she doesn't offer it immediately.
I would ask her. And you, dear, you've been so helpful.
She tells you her name is Carla.
Thank you so much. Hold on, I'm feverishly making a note real quick.
No problem.
In IRL. Okay. I think with that, I'm going to turn to go with my daughter in the direction that they said.
Okay.
You can link my arm through Timmons and sort of usher her along the path, letting her sort of lead.
Not so fast, dear. An old woman can only move so quickly.
No, of course, Mother. Take your time. It's a wonderful night out. It's a beautiful night for a walk.
As the two of you take your leave and begin to walk away, you sort of hear the gentle chatter of like, they seemed like very nice folks. Oh, yes, they are. I'm glad to see that they're having an enjoyable evening.
Incredibly helpful people. Check.
Yeah, as we're walking away, does the name Spellweaver, is that familiar to us? Are they like
It is.
Okay, I have a question. Is it Spellweaver or Brightweaver? Because I have House Brightweaver in my notes. Are these two separate houses? Or is it the same house? Or is it I wrote it down wrong?
They are two separate houses.
Okay. Beautiful. Make a new note for that.
One notable it might not exactly do the trick in remembering, but specifically, Bright Weaver is a major noble house. Spell Weaver is a minor noble house.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, Timmons, roll me a history check.
Do I get to do the thing or no?
We'll say yes, although for other reasons.
So it was a 19 on the dice without any advantage or anything. That's just my first
Very
roll.
good. You recognize that the Bright Weaver and Spell Weaver houses are related. They were split at the initial progenitor. The male and the female, who were the original progenitors of the Bright Weaver house, divorced, and the lady established house Spell Weaver using sort of, I guess you would say, some of the funding that she got from that divorce, established herself as a minor noble house. So they are like actually family in a sense, but they're separate noble houses.
Gotcha.
You know how some of them have weird sort of interweavings? This is one of those cases that Timmons actually knows about.
Did I happen to know anything about the specific two that we saw? Like, are Damien and Clara like house scions? Are they?
He is the third brother of the family. That was a good roll, so I'll say that you recognize the name. You're not aware of him being married to any Carla.
Okay. Did I misrepresent her as wife and they said yes, or did they actively say that she was his wife? I wasn't sure in the RP if they acknowledged that with like a yes, that's true, or if they just kept going on the conversation.
You brought it up, and they suspiciously ignored the issue.
Okay. Cool. Also, the general's son, do I know anything about that? Do I know the general? Do I know the son? Like on reputation, do I have anything?
The general, probably. So the hierarchy, and Jethrin and Kashad would both know this obviously as well, even though they're not here. The hierarchy of the army starts at Crown Prince Murdoch. He sits over everything. And then directly underneath him are three generals. So one of said three generals, one of his sons, is the house address that you have.
Gotcha. Cool.
Well, this is intriguing.
You know, I thought you did actually pretty well.
Well, thank you. Thank you for going along with it and not being offended at my quick thinking.
Of course not. I am not known for my quick thinking. I am happy to follow the lead of those who think better than I.
So, the general's son is running this potentially illegal gambling establishment.
Jethrin heard about it through his... Sorry, I think Timmons and I just did the same thing where we're like, we're not sure which exit we're in. We dropped back down into Timmons for a little bit. I think that Sir Jethrin received his information from his contacts in this kind of sphere.
It would make sense that the soldiers would be aware of something being run by the general's son. It all seems...
Makes sense that also a little bit more high class, you could say, given the status.
Yes, there's clearly money being put into this endeavor, and it would make sense if it was the general's son, he would have access to those funds.
We will see.
So,
3 streets isn't going to be a very long amount of time, but on the way, I don't know. Let's see. Maybe you can help me. I don't have the best memory when it comes to like spaces and places. I'm better at people and faces and gossip, this kind of thing. Could you help me, I don't know, make a map of kind of where we've come from? You don't obviously have to make it right now, but I trust your memory better than mine.
I could certainly try. I have a I mean, I'm pretty familiar with the streets in the city. I mean, this isn't an area I've traveled a lot in, but I can definitely trace, our path from the first house to the wine bar to here. That shouldn't be too difficult. No promises.
Okay, just when we make our report to Mr. Kashad, we will want to be thorough.
Well, of course, absolutely. And he should. I mean, he would know the general, and one would think that he'd be able to find access to where the general's son lives pretty easily without too much of a wouldn't arouse too much suspicion.
I would hope so. It is, well, there are many different ways in order that one can interact with the world around them, and we all have kind of a different approach.
What do you think? Should we take this information back to Kashad, or should we push forward and try to get to see what's actually going on at the general's son's home?
Zach, what would be the travel time to go back to the house and back?
Longer than you would probably want to do at this time. Like 30 minutes probably.
No, I think that we should continue on, and we can reassess once we've seen, at least something more specific than vague directions to an address and a general's son.
Right. I trust your wisdom and experience. Onwards we go.
Yeah.
Onwards we go.
You navigate 3 streets over. Takes just a couple of minutes of light walking, and you're on the proper street.
Looking at the street house numbers, is it clear which direction we should be going, like left or right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go in the right direction then. Deliberately choose to go the other way. That's what I did. No.
Correct. Right.
Keep
right. Correct.
Yes. Right.
We go.
Is there? Yeah, still kind of looking around, seeing if anybody is on the street or headed in the same direction, or if we're alone.
This street is pretty quiet. You see 3 people. One of them is a couple at one of the other houses on the street that you can see, chatting outside on a bench that's on their land. And the other is what looks to be an elderly man who's outside. He's got a knife and he's whittling something. No one is actually moving in the street. There are people sitting at their houses.
It seems like a quiet evening on a relatively well-off residential area. Nothing out of the ordinary as far as I can tell.
We may press on until we find something interesting.
You reach the proper address on the other side of the home that has the elderly man whittling away at it. And you can see it looks like it has a 3-floor construction. There are 2 windows on the top, 2 windows on the bottom, and then one in the middle floor, and then one on either side of the main door. The main door is a single door, not a set of double doors, but it is oversized. You can tell it's made of like a different kind of wood than yours, for instance, and probably like a foot taller, maybe like half a foot wider, something like that.
Are there lights on inside?
On the middle floor, there is what looks like a tiny amount of candlelight in the window. And then on the bottom floor, on the right side, there looks to be like some kind of larger oil lamp on.
Well, I suppose there are 2 ways in. We can knock and ask, or we can invite ourselves.
I'm gonna slip up into Janice's register a little bit. Like, now I am curious, dear. With your knowledge of this whole, and I hold up the back side of that note with all the jumbly stuff that I don't understand. This. If well, do you see anything around here that matches it?
I look around and see if there's any sort of anything engraved, any notes, anything in that strikes as one of the similar thieves' cant symbols to what's been left.
Do the lights in the window match any known messages?
Signals? No.
Yeah.
But your thought process is a bit interrupted by the elderly man at the house next door who goes, what are you talking about weird symbols on that piece of paper?
Oh,
You were being relatively quiet, but it seems the hearing was good enough to overhear you.
Oh, we are on a scavenger hunt. It's part of like a big social pub event where you go and it's a big mystery and you have to go from place to place to place to try and solve a problem, and there's a big prize at the end, usually ale.
If you're in the wrong neighborhood, they don't run stuff like that here.
It's entirely likely.
Go
Yes.
ahead and roll me a deception check.
Fair. Ooh. Oh God. Even with my +4, that's an 8.
So, I don't mean to be impolite, but here's the problem. You see he reaches underneath his chair, pulls out a crossbow, and kind of puts it on his thigh. Not pointed like directly at you, but like the way someone might threaten somebody with a shotgun, like, hey, I've got a shotgun. He's like, hey, I've got a crossbow. He's like, so, what you say, me and you, we just become friends? You be honest with me, I be honest with you. Then we don't have any problems.
I think it's a splendid idea, dear. And I fold up the note and put it in my pocket. You'll have to forgive my daughter. She is sometimes a little bit over enthusiastic. We have a friend who told us that we should come here in order to meet some people. We've not been to this particular address before, you understand, for some bit of a confusion, we were somewhere else, and then are a little bit late to join.
I see. Your friend some type of thief or something? Because 2 doors down, we recently had some trouble with that in the neighborhood.
No, I've never stolen anything in my life.
Deception check? Maybe? I'll let you decide.
Aside from Timmons's cooking, I probably haven't stolen a whole lot of things that weren't, like one of those honey cakes. I've definitely stolen honey cakes.
Yet. Yet.
Okay.
No thieves. Or at least that is not what we're after. We are after a bit of fun, a bit of friendly competition, one might say.
Fun. I like fun. You want to play a game? I got this weird new game in my house I just picked up. There's like these little wood bricks. You pull them out and try to make it not topple over. It's pretty interesting.
Well, as an old woman, I'm not sure. I'm like, the hand that Timmons raises is shaking just a little bit. Well, I'm not sure that'd be quite my game.
I would play, but I'd like to have a wager. If I win, I get something, and if you win, you get something. Piece of information, maybe.
All right. But if it seems like you're casing my house, I will shoot you.
Nope. Absolutely not casing the house. I am just absolutely fascinated by this game.
All right, come on. Let's play. He opens the door. He starts to head inside. Do you guys follow him?
Yeah, I can't resist a wooden walk tower. I can't.
I mean, unfortunately, C is walking in, and Timmons' conscience cannot let Mare out of sight.
Stranger danger. Stranger danger.
So it appears that Janice is also heading in this building that Janice is not incredibly keen to be in. But
you do see he kind of puts the crossbow away on the countertop. He's not like actively holding on to it or something. And as you guys walk in, you hear him kind of muttering to himself. He's like, man, I swear I had put this up somewhere. Oh, I think it's in this cabinet. All right. He's got his back turned to you right now. He's like, okay, here's this. I don't know why they put a wood game in a wood box. Seems awfully silly to me. Anywho, brings it over to like the little island area by the kitchen. He's like, all right, let's do this. Gotta do that. And dump it out. He dumps it out. And then he starts to build this little tower slowly out of the little bricks.
hey, what's this house look like? You've described an old man that is difficult for me to picture in this residence, like in this area. So, like, is it well appointed in here? Like, is it fancy?
Go ahead and roll me a,
Interior design check.
we'll say insight.
Ooh, I do like insight. Garbage roll, though. I have a +7 and I still only got a 10 on it.
These specifics are lost on you, but you see a painting of a younger looking man in a pose. You see some chainmail hung up on the wall, a shield mounted next to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's another painting. Looks like a horse. This painting looks old and frayed. You gather that this person is probably someone who retired high within Dark Star's military, probably a number of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Also thinking about it, the way he had that crossbow positioned, it was clearly something that he's wielded previously.
Mm.
It was set up in such a way, your background, you're pretty familiar with fast twitch muscles. Mm-hmm. It was set up such that his muscles were aligned to point and shoot it directly at Mare in like one motion if he had needed to.
That's fair.
You have a lovely home.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it gets lonely in here by myself, but have my children come to visit sometimes, I suppose.
Well, that's nice. Family is important.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Fortunately, don't have so much left. But, well, it was nice running into you all tonight, I suppose. He's got the tower like half built up at this point.
Where are my manners? My name is Janice. This is my daughter, C. And you are?
Huh?
I didn't catch your name.
Yeah. Well, my name's Tim. Tim Bloodbeard.
Tim Bloodbeard. We're already friends, aren't we? DM, I just want to let you know, I have a stated intention that I will let Jinga go on for so long before Timmons is going to accidentally knock it down so that they can,
Okay. When would you like to accidentally knock the tower down?
Well, if he ends up like talking during the game and like if there's some sort of benefit to it, I will just follow Mare's like lead. But if like they're just playing a silent game, I'm going to trip at some point.
Oh no, I want to see if he so Mayor, as he's building the tower, Mayor's gonna ask, so I mentioned a wager. If I win, will you tell me everything that you know about what goes on next door?
No.
What would you tell me? 3 things about what's happening next door?
Perhaps I could agree to that. As long as you'd be willing to tell me as reassurance that you're not casing my grandson's place, exactly what it is that you're up to.
I give you my word. I am not trying to steal anything from you, your grandson, any of your... either of these 2 houses. I swear on the life of my...
Listen, miss, you don't got to do all that. I actually believe you, believe it or not. Here's the problem. I ain't even worried so much about robbers. My real issue is everybody thinks, oh, it's just a little bit of thieving from rich people until somebody's actually home. And that's how people get hurt. You know what I mean? I've been on a battlefield before, and here's the problem. Even if I believe that my grandson is capable of taking care of some lowly bandits or robbers, nobody wants to have blood on their conscience either. That hurts.
I can completely understand. Absolutely. No one wants violence. No one wants to enact violence on somebody or to have their home broken into. I completely understand. No, we're just looking for some information, and we honestly, we were kind of looking for a party. We heard there might be some fun games, but you have this very interesting game, which looks absolutely incredible. And so we just wanted to have a bit of fun and to experience the nightlife the city has to offer and see something different and new.
Can I give you a tip?
I think you're going to, whether I say yes or no.
No, I'm not.
Well, then,
But
yes.
I do really think you want to know.
I do. Yes, I do.
All right, hang on. Takes the crossbow with them. Leaves the room. He's gone right now. Would you guys like to do anything about that? He's walked out of the room. You could leave. You could.
Are you really planning to sit here and play this game?
Well, I mean, seems like he's the father of the general. It's probably a good friend to have.
I mean, if we were not trying to get him to a party, I would agree. But the longer we're here, the less likely we can actually get there.
Yes, but we could have so much more information, and this could be so much more helpful. He might even know a way into Thalonia, possibly in the library or something. He could have access to so much stuff that we could use to help our family.
You all hear a loud thud, and then some loud cursing, and then this old man complaining about, "Oh, I dropped the dang book."
Are you all right, dear? Would you like
What?
assistance?
Oh, no, I'm all right. It's just a heavy book. Give me 1 second. He comes back out with the sort of crossbow dangling at his side and almost like limping on one of his legs and carrying this big old tome underneath. He's like, "All right, here." Flips open the book. Flips open. Flips. Ah, here we go. Turns the book around and shows it to you, Mayor.
What is it?
You are looking at a pretty exact copy of your disguise. In your haste to put together, you accidentally called upon an exact memory of a book of subterfuge that you've read previously and used that exact design as your disguise.
Amazing. They say imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the likeness is uncanny. Now you will see why I thought you were a robber. Flips
No, that's completely valid. Clearly I need to improve my skills and work better at not being me.
There's nothing wrong with being here. Just the way you are. Although I could stand to see you in a different dress, but
I did do a good job of that. It just wasn't what was necessary.
Oh yeah, the imitation was great work. I'll give you that. No problem. Oh, I was building this tower. 1 second here.
do you mind if I look at your book?
Does he mind if what?
If I look at the book?
Oh, I suppose not.
What language is it written in?
It is written. What languages does Timon speak?
Beckman, Common, Daragonian, Dwarvish, and Goblin. Sort of. For the last one.
It's written in Dargonian.
Okay. All right. I want to just flip through and see if there's anything of note besides this kind of like, how to disguise yourself, like the big thick tome. I'm interested to see what kind of information he's just calling on like that.
Give me a history check.
Cool. 3.
3?
3. All my
You
rolls
have
have been
no idea.
garbage.
Yeah, you're not sure. Obviously, it's a book of disguises of some sort.
I just keep idly flipping it because I have no interest in playing fantasy pull the small wooden piece out of a tower. And so I just keep idly flipping through.
Mayor, are you actually going to play once he's prepped the game?
probably shouldn't. We probably have other better things to be doing.
Timmons looks completely relaxed flipping through this book.
Could
Or
we?
rather, Janice does.
Mr. Bloodbeard, I really want to play this game. And you are a fascinating individual. And I am sure that there is so much that we could talk about. And you said...
Look, do you see how old I am?
I see that you are old. I wouldn't like to make a judgment as to your exact age.
I've had a great many people let me down in my day. Just come right out and say it.
The night is short, and we have things to do. But I really want to come back here. And I'm hoping that, with your permission, I could come back here. I'd have to see what my schedule is, but hopefully within the next few days, and see if I'm free of obligations, and come back, hopefully as me this time, and sit down and play with you.
All right. That seems mighty proper. I'll go finish that dagger I was working on.
You make daggers?
Well, not really. I mean, probably stab somebody with it one time. It's more of like a practice thing, I guess. Here, he like pulls it out of his bag. You can see he was carving it into like the shape of a wooden dagger, and while it wouldn't make like an overly effective weapon, it's got basically the same general shape as like how a dagger would be crafted in Dargonia, like the specific kind of style.
Oh, that is beautiful. I really think that you and I are going to be excellent friends.
All right, on one condition.
And what is that?
Weapons are not beautiful. They must be respected.
I accept your terms.
Instruments of war and all. But don't let me keep you. Enjoy the rest of your night, ladies.
And thank you. And Mr. Bloodbeard, I will be returning. And
you two take your leave?
We do.
Okay. And
I think
once
I
you've
stop
left,
and look like sadly a little bit at the half assembled pull out the wooden thing tower. Because he was actively putting it together, but
it's more like 80% of the way there by the time Mara lets him down.
And then I'll just follow her out.
All right. Once you have exited the place, the old man does not seem to come back outside, at least not immediately. What would you like to do?
I think we have to try to get in next door again. Or we could go home and tell Kashad everything. He is going to love this.
Well, if we're here, we might as well knock.
What's the worst that could happen if we knock, really?
And then you see, like, Janice's face kind of blue screens for a second as every worst possibility runs through Timon's head. Yes, you're probably right. I'm just going to, and I'll take the little cane that I've got and kind of rap on the door with it.
Both of you go ahead and make me dexterity saving throws.
Heck yeah.
It's an 11. Wait, hold on. Let me double check that. Yeah, that's an 11. I knew my stats.
22.
Okay. Mare, you take 28 fire damage, and Timmons, you take 14. As the door explodes and converts itself to a gout of flame as the fireball explodes.
Wait.
You can see things burning inside of the door, and given the face of the young man, looks to be about 22 that you see on the other side of the door, you do not believe that he was the one who put it there. And that seems like a great time to go to break. So, before the break, 2 of our members were just fireballed, and checking in on them is something that we absolutely need to do. After we've checked in with the player who spent the whole session so far in jail. Jethrin, you have woken from being drugged. You're under grogginess of realizing what had happened to you. All that now is starting to come whirling back to you as you're awake. You can see the jail cell in front of you, and there's a man wearing a mask who has sort of ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-chinged across all of the bars on the jail cell to awaken you.
How do I feel is my question.
You know that time where all of the other soldiers discovered that you could drink quite a lot and they decided to see how far they could push you along on that before you felt like absolute crap the next day? Kind of like you did waking up the next morning after that night.
Indeed. All right. I'm assuming that they've taken all my gear off me.
Actually, they have not.
Okay.
Did you wear armor or arms or anything?
No, but he always comes armed. He is a paladin, but he has switched from wearing armor to wearing the sort of like more light tabard kind of thing, which is not considered as armor, just that can display, his house colors, etc.
House colors and stuff. Yeah. So you have all of your gear. Waking up, you can kind of see it. Anything you were wearing is no longer being worn, except for the tabard. The tabard's still on. They didn't unclothe you or anything. But all of the backpack, any shield you had strapped on, any weapons you were carrying on your person, they've been kind of set beside you, basically. So you could go for the gear, try to stab the guy through the bars or something. But he would be able to see you doing so.
If I'm remembering correctly, this person asked me a question of something along the lines of, "You've been wanting to speak to us," or something like that. Is that correct?
So that now, as you're waking up more, you're thinking back and you're remembering, yes, when he kind of daggered his way across all the bars to kind of try to wake you up, he asked you, "So I heard you've been looking for us."
There are easier ways of asking me out to dinner.
That's funny. You're funny. I like that.
I've been told that. Thank you. You're gonna have to excuse me. I'm not usually drugged in somebody's basement, I guess.
It's a converted wine cellar, but I get it. He kind of leans back against the wall, crosses his legs as he's standing up, and he's like, "Take all the time that you need to adjust. I'll be right here."
How's your man's nose?
Not so good. He did mention something about all the blood gushing out of it. That was rather unkind.
Well, fair play is a good turnaround, I think, is the phrase.
So it is.
Well, I'm assuming you know who I am.
That is true.
Well, that makes introductions a lot easier. And what can I call you?
Whatever you want.
You look like a Bob, I think.
I'm not too choosy.
Bob it is. So
Sounds good to me.
Why the drugging? Why the cells? If you know that I'm looking for someone to help me out.
You got a pretty recognizable face. I'm sure that's not lost on you.
Again, thank you. And no, it is not.
Might be better if some people know that we're not talking.
Well played. Well, you have not robbed me. My goods are here. I'm alive, if I am a little bit groggy, so... would you like to ask me questions, or would you like me to ask you questions?
I would love to know for certain that I can trust you. But, just to establish one more rule, you may leave whenever you like. All you need to do is say, I would like to leave. But any information to be exchanged will stop at that point. Permanently.
Noted. All right, Bob. Let's
You serve Annis Vitae, correct?
I do indeed.
How did Annis Vitae earn your service?
Well, the people that I originate from have a long history of worship of Annis Vitae, and it felt it was something that was to my liking.
You, Sir Jethrin, are a man of many loyalties. Are you aware of this?
I would say that's probably a good description.
House, queen, crown, fellow soldiers, Annis Vitae, servants of Annis Vitae, many.
My first loyalties will always be to my oath, my good sir. Or madam, I'm not quite sure. You're all covered up. You sound like a Bob, though.
Believe it or not, it does not actually matter. And you do see the voice distinctively change as they speak.
Very good. But yes, I'm a man of my word. And my intention in seeking whoever it is you are is in the service of my house.
See? You ask a very good question. And what could I do for you in your house?
Well, imagine, if you would, that there were elements within the kingdoms that would make your profession a lot less stable. I imagine you might be aware of who these elements might possibly be.
Maybe. Though some people would say that that is me.
Some people might. But I tend to think that a kingdom in chaos doesn't add to a lot of profit unless you are a warmonger of some sort.
Nah. Warmongering certainly tends to get in the way of business. My philosophy is that were I not control of Dark Star's underground, someone else would be. It's better that it's me.
Fantastic. Then I think we can work together quite well. There is a worrying amount of evidence that I have collected that would suggest a certain Mahira Goldheart is being set up to take the fall for something that was not his doing. There is other evidence that I've collected to suggest that there are potentially skilled spellcasters that are behind this. What I don't know is who they might be and what exactly it is they're hoping to gain by knocking down the gold hearts.
Well, to the former, I would say that you are correct. Mahira Goldheart is absolutely being set up. Although we're someone to be set up, is there a more deserving candidate, in your opinion?
That's not really how I see things.
Certainly he's not beloved for any goodwill he might show to the common people. He certainly hasn't fought deeply hard on the battlefield to protect his own men, right? Bit of a coward, from what I hear. Not a lot of redeeming qualities going around.
Perhaps. His family is the one that I'm more concerned about.
Yes. As you have said, you have a lot of love for families.
I do indeed.
Well, I do not know for certain, but I believe that your latter assessment is correct. There are some strong spellcasters who are deeply involved in seeing Mahira Goldheart fall. And however much of Goldheart, the family, he might take with him.
You say he. That gives me an indication that you have a suspect.
I do have a suspect.
And what might such information be worth for you?
Well, I don't really need any more money. Jewels are rather boring to me. Shiny things are interesting, but they start to blend together. You can really only have so much jewelry, you understand?
I wouldn't know, but I'll take your word for it.
I don't count a lot of paladins amongst my friends.
It depends on their particular viewpoint of the world and how their oath might better serve the people.
Yeah.
I am concerned primarily for the good of my house, secondarily for the common good, and a certain stability in an underworld where certain laws are obeyed within their own structure is better for the common good than one which I am unaware of.
I agree. I'm not really all that worried about the underworld. The overworld. That I am rather worried about.
That makes two of us. So, perhaps your show of good faith here can simply be an establishment of some form of trust and ongoing communication between us. And also, hopefully, establishing a bit more stability for both of our factions, in that the kingdom above does not go to rack and ruin.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Doesn't
Trust runs a little thin down here. So I'm not sure. Who do you think was the first person of this world to break their oath?
Gosh. I mean, I'm not young, but I'm not that old.
It's a trick question. Do you know why?
I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage, considering that I am still partially inebriated.
All right. Tosses you a potion bottle.
What does it do?
Drink
this is Jethron asking in character.
Drink it.
Well, I suppose trust is to start somewhere. I'll drink it.
You feel all of the effects of your earlier poisoning fade away. Now we're on a level playing field. So I'll ask you again.
Some good stuff. Thank you.
It's a trick question. Do you know why?
I still don't.
Well, if the stories that I've heard are true, it's a trick question because the first deceiver was not mortal.
That would make sense. I doubt the mortals came first in this world.
From the stories that I've heard, it was Euxne, god of chaos. Because from where would chaos come if not through liars?
I can see that perspective. From another perspective, one might argue that everyone is always lying to themselves, because something one person might believe might be completely opposite to what somebody else believes, which would make them both liars.
How would you ever know?
Exactly. That's the trick.
That sounds like more of the theory of a follower of Euxne.
Well, I don't believe that any of the deities don't have a place in people's lives.
So it may be. I think we can be very good friends, Jethrin. The problem with my line of business is that I believe that I'm going to tell you a great many things that you'd probably rather not know. And I'd hate to see you hold that against me.
Well, I can certainly give you my oath, but I would not hold it against you.
If I were going to trust an oath from someone, may as well be someone who's already proven that they can uphold one.
That is sound reasoning, sir.
Very well. I'll take a chance on you. I
That was
believe
my favorite tune that a bard used to sing.
I I'll take a chance on you. I believe the mastermind behind Mahiro Goldheart's downfall is the Queen.
And what might give you that feeling or impression?
Well, Goldheart somehow fell out of favor as just minor nobles. I wonder who might gain control of their vast sums of wealth. Who do you think, Jethrin?
Well, assuming that they had no descendants, etc., to be able to take claim of these properties, it would go to the sovereign of the kingdom.
Especially if any living descendants could be certifiably have been proven to be in cahoots in some sort of a plot to overthrow the kingdom, hide tax money, protect an illegal mine of some sort. Anything like that could probably be used against any living descendants to dishonor them. Wouldn't you think?
Likely. My follow-up connect the dots conclusion comes here, is that you also believe in the potential theory of it being connected to powerful spellcasters, do you not?
Mm-hmm.
So,
who controls the most powerful spellcaster in the kingdom, Sir Jethrin?
the Queen, conceivably,
Unless someone's
I
hiding somewhere.
have always had my doubts about the Archmage.
Well, you and I are aligned there, then.
Could it be possible, if not plausible, that the Queen is not necessarily in control of her own faculties?
I personally believe that it is unlikely. But you never know.
But why all this? Why now is my question.
Well, I haven't heard it right from the Queen's mouth or anything, but I do have another theory, if you have interest.
I have interest in a great many things.
Expansionism. The Queen has limited allies in her fight against those to the west of us. To the south of her enemies, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the various territories of this world.
Fairly.
Lies a collection of different tribes of tribesmen that all war within themselves for collective power and ownership over those lands. But if the right person could bring them an influx of gold and wealth, I bet they could be convinced to march north. What do you think?
Potentially. But I think that kind of bargain can quickly turn sour There's always somebody with more gold.
Sometimes.
So, what are your suggestions on this matter?
I'm no military strategist. I deal in information, of which I believe I have provided a great deal.
You have indeed. You have indeed. Do you have any theories on why exactly this fight with Telonia keeps him going?
Yes.
Well, I'm happy to hear.
That will be extremely expensive.
How expensive are we talking?
Were I to sell the information for gold, though I would not accept a sum of less than 1 million.
You say you would not sell it for gold. What
Nope.
would you accept for it in lieu of gold?
The guaranteed safety of all the common people. Not just of Dark Star, but of the entire country.
That is asking a lot of one very handsome Leonin.
Yes. At the very least, it would require asking you to take an additional oath beyond the one you already hold. Perhaps one that could lead to conflicting loyalties, which I imagine would not be good for someone in your position.
I am a pragmatic person. And I don't think such a world can exist.
I worry about that too. Still, it's my goal.
It's not a bad goal to have. Well,
I think so.
so we have a gold heart, which we might not be able to prove innocent unless you have more information on how we might prove him innocent. We have a potential monarch.
You cannot prove him innocent. Because he's guilty. Though I suppose not of the crimes for which they accuse him.
Well, those sound like semantics.
I do believe the court will see it that way.
All right.
Fascinating, isn't it? We use the same word for people of royal blood, kings and queens, in the judicial system. Interesting.
Would I be able to make a perception check based upon smell? I just want to remember this person's scent, so that if I ever came across it without them masked and in disguise, etc., I might be able to know them.
You actually already recognize it.
Do I? Interesting.
You do.
Who is it?
This person has the precise, exact same, to the individual note of the smell, scent as Crown Prince Murdoch.
I thought so.
Speaking of the people who are by the exploded door, let's check in with how the two of you are doing. Merovina, I believe you were not doing too well.
No, I am not. No.
Timmons, you watch to your side as in the flames, Merovina, someone you're sworn to protect, crumples to the ground. And in front of you, you see the scorched face and slicked back hair of a young man appearing in his mid-20s who's quite confused. What would you like to do first?
The young man that I see is alive.
He is alive. He does not even appear in game terms what we would call bloodied, though he is a bit singed.
Okay. I'm going to reach over and touch Merovina in order to use Hand of Healing and restore 6 hit points.
Oh, that.
Are you all right?
You see the young man, as you're doing this, rushes over, a bit confused, but he goes, "Oh, goodness, that's a neat trick that you have there. You do not look like a cleric." Miss, are you okay? He's looking at you, Mare.
I'm breathing, so for now, I suppose.
Much preferred to the opposite.
If you are trying to break in, you are the worst criminals I've ever seen. That's the only reason why I haven't found a sword. But are you okay? You didn't crumple to the ground, but you still look injured.
Yeah, so I kind of taking the soot and the ash kind of from my face and trying to clean up a little bit. You know, I would not say knocking is trying to break in. Did you do this?
No. Why would I explode my own door? That's nonsense.
Well, then who would want to explode your door?
And from knocking.
Well, I could think of a great many people, although most of them are enemies of the state.
How many of them are inside?
You don't look like Telonians.
No, definitely not Telonians. The wig, I am assuming, is just completely wrecked and sort of toss it to the ground. Is trying.
You look a lot more like Merovina than you do like Fee at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, now that neither of you seem to be dying, perhaps, why were you knocking? We could start there.
I'm gonna help Mare up off the ground.
We wanted to say hi, and we heard there was some gambling, and we wanted to gamble. but not with our lives, with money.
A bit odd. I don't know who would have sent you to my house for gambling. Really the problem of the lesser men, unfortunately. I think someone's played a nasty little trick on you.
Don't believe him.
That
Go ahead and roll.
I rolled a natural 1. So 8, but natural 1.
He seems on the up and up, as it were.
So perhaps, if I have this correct, it was not directions on where to gamble. It was we stumbled upon some sort of plan that was already in motion.
I am not sure what you're talking about. Do you know what she's talking about?
Oh, I was not speaking to you. Apologies.
Well,
no, this was.
Would you like to come in?
Yes.
Yes, please. That would be lovely. They set us up. This was a trap.
I don't think it was a trap for us.
Well, the paper led us here.
Sorry to interrupt. Here you go. Maravina, he hands you what looks to be some sort of ice in like a paper bag.
Has he directed us to somewhere where we can sit down?
Yeah, he's led you all into what appears to be a very nice dining room.
So Timmons is kind of in the middle of like disguise versus not disguise. Like she's still sort of moving like
You rolled very well.
Yeah.
You still are disguised as an old lady that has been injured. That's still holding up at the moment.
Okay.
To the passive observer. Yeah, he would need to actively be looking for a disguise to see through it.
Okay, so I think in the heat of the moment, Timmons was speaking like Timmons, and as they kind of collect themselves and sit down, she more fully dons that disguise back a little bit in terms of her voice and presentation. No, that's not what I'm suggesting. I'm thinking that we thought that we found directions to where the gambling would be, but instead we found part of a plot against this young boy. Who are you?
Sorry?
Who are you? Do I know who this is? Like before I just like ask like a fool, do I recognize this person? Are they famous enough that I would
I'm gonna say yeah. Timmons has seen him at court. He's much more of a schmoozer, you might say, than his father. This is the general's son. He's like being forged into the next general, essentially.
Do you have a name for the general's son?
Ken.
Ken
Yeah,
K-E-N?
K-E-N. Ken Bloodbeard.
Ken Bloodbeard.
Oh, no, it's no. So you don't gamble?
No. It's
Okay.
a waste of money and time. There are so many better ways of making connections with people.
I don't know if I agree or disagree at this point, considering
Okay.
I was just exploded for knocking, so it seems like there are also worse ways for doing.
Yes. I suppose so. Ding, ding, ding. He rings like a little bell hanging from the wall.
We should check on. Has Tim responded to the explosion?
Whom?
Tim, the grandfather.
Oh, Tim. Surprisingly, no.
Sorry, your grandfather lives next door, yes?
Well, sure, yes.
Yeah, no, we just saw him. I'm just a little concerned if you are being targeted. Could be your whole family. You have people to send to check on them?
More fool's the man who tries to take on my grandfather, I suppose. But yeah, I'm
Very
sure
casual.
I'm sure he's got a guard station. Now, come on now, what the heck is going on over here? Well, that would be him, I suppose.
Hello, Tim.
Now,
I knocked
tell
on the
me
door.
that you did not ignore my pleasant game so that you could come over and explode my grandson's door. That would be downright impolite of you.
It would be. Does this look like this is something I intended to do to myself? This was someone tried to explode your grandson, and we happened to be caught in the middle of it, and this is bad for everyone.
I mean, you could argue that your grandson is the more rude for having doors that explode.
Well, I don't know if I would argue that, although he looks a lot tougher than you. Maybe if someone was trying to explode him, you should have just got out of the way. Grandfather, come on, sit down. You're being ridiculous.
Well, this is
At this point, a pair of servants come in carrying a tray that has a few different kinds of fruit, some crackers, and a bit of cheese on it. Set it down in front of you all. I don't suppose either of you will be wanting some wine after the night you've had.
Yes. Please, having... I think a drink might be in order.
See? Don't know, that's a good idea, young lady.
See what? See is your name.
I don't... Could we just not talk about that right now?
I suppose. I'm still a bit unclear on why you were knocking on my door. Could we go back to that bit?
Well, we were looking for an underground gambling establishment. We were trying to get some information, and well, we went to the place it was supposed to be, and it wasn't there. And so the next place it seemed like it could be was here. And then we had a very nice conversation with your wonderful grandfather, and then, we decided to... Unfortunately, I should have just stayed and played the game.
Y'all definitely got set up. Grandfather, please. They're guests now.
Show respect to your elders. Tim's right. You were set up. Or you were set up. Or maybe all of us were set up.
Okay, very well. Well, I suppose I will have the spellcaster out here tomorrow to inspect the rest of the establishment. Be impolite to call on someone at this hour. And a woodworker for my new door.
I don't think I've ever met people more cavalier about death. You just only exploded an old woman, and now you're like, well, I suppose I'll wait until working hours to figure out if there's anything else that will kill me in my home.
Now, do I look like a fool? You're awfully put together for an old lady who almost got exploded.
I'm old. And a lady. And
So?
I think that your lack of security is incredibly bothersome. So just a little bit straight.
Roll me a charisma check.
16?
16.
That's just straight charisma, right? It's not like persuasion.
Yeah. Very well. If you will forgive my lack of security, then I will not ask you to leave immediately at your rudeness. Does that seem fair?
It's rude to point out that all I did was knock.
On my door.
That is how doors work generally.
I didn't
One
place it
person
there.
knocks, the
You
other
were
person
coming
opens.
here to dishonor me by looking for some sort of gambling ring that you believed that I was involved in. You certainly have a way of twisting the story around to your benefit.
Well, we were clearly lied to, and you shouldn't be mad at us for being lied to. We should be mad at the liars for lying to all of us. We're on the same side.
Well, at first I was convinced that you would not blow yourselves up. The more that we speak, the less convinced I become.
I mean, we kind of...
Do you think you would be the first people to find a creative way to get introduced to the General Sun?
Well, I don't think we would have...
Timmons' passive insight, you notice the obvious change in tone. He's adopted much more formality. Something shifted.
Hmm.
Sir, I think if we wanted to meet you, we wouldn't have had to go through a near-death experience. There would have been much less self-harm, violent ways of going about it.
Perhaps. 3 days ago, someone pretended to choke to meet me.
That's awful.
I agree. And yet, here we are. As I've said, sometimes people find creative ways.
Do we look like we're that creative?
Your mother, if that's really your mother, does seem creative, yes.
Has Tim also adopted this shift? Sorry, just to read the room. Has Tim also adopted this shift in tone?
No, he seems pretty relaxed and convinced by whatever previous interactions he had with you, but he's also not correcting his grandson either. He just seems to have kicked back and he's watching this. What's your insight passively?
17.
Yeah, you think Tim's found a new game and it's watching to see how this unfolds.
I'm going to look at Mare.
Yes.
Okay, so Mare looks like Mare, yeah?
Mare looks like Mare. There's a little bit of like smudged makeup left over and stuff, but pretty obviously Mare.
Oh, I'm so conflicted. I will look at Mare and I'll say, well, I think it's up to you.
I mean, lying isn't going to get us anywhere. Telling the truth probably helps support our story, but we've been telling the truth as it is. Might as well come out with the whole truth.
And nothing but. Did you need me to make introductions?
Yes. Yes.
Wait, does
about this?
does Ken have an official title in his current station?
Yeah. Any political clout that he has is completely a percentage borrowed from his father. He would be afforded some respect as someone who's in line. You're now getting the sense, based on the information that you have, that at least within the Bloodbeard line, their position as a general is kind of hereditary until it's not.
So Timmons will stand up from where she is sitting and move to stand behind Mare. And as she does, she will just completely straighten up, and it's like that reverse melting that we saw earlier of like her going into that Janice appearance. Like she straightens as she moves, and she clearly moves with a lot more like physical grace and prowess. And it's like, Mr. Bluebeard, if I can please introduce the young mistress, Lady Maravina Chiron, House Chiron, second in line.
Now, do you believe me when I say we didn't have to blow ourselves up to meet you?
I suppose that I do. Hold on. You see, he takes off a pack, sort of like a side bag thing, rifles through it a little bit, pulls out a bottle. It's green, slides it over to you.
In truth,
It's a potion of health. You'll feel better.
Thank you. And I take it and I drink it.
Welcome to my home, Lady Kyran.
Your hospitality is most gracious and welcomed. Now, you said someone tried to choke you? Did I hear that right?
No, someone tried to introduce themselves to me by choking. A soldier who was looking to rise through the ranks.
Okay, well, at least it wasn't violence upon your person. And although I don't know. Well, clearly someone is trying to, they're either setting us up or setting you up or some sort of problem. And this needs to be a solution. We can't have, the general's doors getting blown off, the slightest provocation. That's not.
if I may, dear mistress, we did not intend to meet with you at all this evening. We were in another place and found a piece of paper that directed us to this address. We believed it to be where the festivities were moved to, in light of I don't know what. But it now seems more likely that they were always coming here, and we just happened to walk this way.
Perhaps they thought they would kill two birds with one stone, as it were. Lead us to here, set a trap on the door, have us knock, and take us both out.
I honestly don't think they thought of us at all.
No, the paper seemed. But why was the address on the paper? If it wasn't for us, then it was for an attack here.
I think it was for the.
Let me get this straight. If I understood the threads of your story, I've been able to kind of try to pull at. You went to a house that you believed to be a gambling den. I'm assuming, based on your dress, to be a sort of high rollers table, as it were. There, you conveniently found a piece of paper that listed my address, and when you got here to knock, the door exploded.
Yes.
It's a pretty good summary.
With a slight detour to meet your lovely grandfather.
I mean, I'm not the most intelligent man. A great number of people would tell you that. But this sounds to me like a setup on your part. You ended up at one of the general's son's houses from a letter that you conveniently found in a gambling den. I don't think people were after me. I think somebody was hoping that I'd slice you up first and ask questions later.
And the rune?
It seems like you were absolutely prepared to do that, so.
I was. It was a rather good plan. It's almost lucky that you were knocked out. Sorry, I mean, in terms of their plan not working.
That's fair.
If we'd not been here, though, the door would have still exploded when the next unfortunate soul came by. Or you yourself went to leave.
That does seem as though they were not worried about potential collateral damage.
So clearly we're dealing with people who have a tenuous grasp on morality.
Or at least a strange assessment of what it is and what it means. Definitely.
Or perhaps they were targeting you or someone else. Did you have any expected guests in the next day or so? Or is there someone that comes over here especially often?
That's sort of interesting. My girlfriend, I suppose, would be a regular person coming and going from the house. My grandfather, perhaps. Well, no expected meetings here tomorrow. I do have meetings, but not here. So I suppose it could have been me.
Not to intrude on your personal life, but who is your girlfriend of nobility or of any particular social or political importance?
She is a bright weaver.
Ah, interesting.
Please, forgive me.
You're forgiven.
Her name is not. Hold on. Where are my pomelas? Her name is not Clara. Clara?
You mean
Carla.
Are you thinking of Carla?
Yeah, sorry, I wrote it as Clara. It's Carla.
No. You're good. No. Her name is not Carla. If you must know, her name is Talia.
Beautiful name.
Do you know Carla Spellweaver?
You also know a Talia Brightweaver. You met her about 4 years ago at a party.
Nice.
And she is. Were our interactions with her? Are we generally favorable with her, or?
Were you here for that episode? The flashback?
No.
Okay. We had a kid. We talked to the Bright Weaver. I had her in my note as Lady Bright Weaver, but I assume that that's the same person.
Lady Talia Brightweaver.
Okay. Oh. Oh. You passed Lady Brightweaver my regards.
Very well.
Oh.
So the plot thickens. We so there's any number of people that could have been the targets of this. I feel like we're going to have to tell my brother this and figure out if there's more information we can glean from outside sources.
You should probably check in with them as soon as you can. I would hate to see, for someone who was truly after you, to have circled away from my residence and back to yours.
I would as well. I would also hate to see, you continue to be targeted, or the Lady Brightweaver. None of this is. This is a problem.
I have been studying the sword since before I could walk. I assure you, I can handle my own. You need not worry about me.
All right, well,
General Bloodbeard. I look at him. I would just be interested in your assessment of the situation.
My assessment of the trick that you all fell for?
I suppose so.
Well, it seems to me that they either need to be an absolute psychopath or it has to be someone that knows you at least a little bit. Because they seemed rather certain that you were going to be on your way over here once you found that note, or they didn't care who could be injured. There's no way they knew all the people who might be coming in and out of this house.
I can't imagine it would be easy under your watchful gaze and your grandson's martial prowess to booby trap this door in broad daylight.
They would have literally had to be invisible. Oh.
That does make sense.
Impossible. Would just for my own point of curiosity, with the residential areas around the houses around here, you don't think that someone in one of your neighbors could be watching your house for any particular reason? Or have
I think so, but I'm sure plenty of them have the means if they maybe wanted to.
Definitely lead to knowing who's coming and going.
I suppose. I think you really ought to get back to your own.
You're right.
You can come back tomorrow. It sounds like the Lady Talia might be here by then. I'm not sure there's anything else that can't wait until tomorrow, is there?
No, I suppose not.
That's what the tactician in me says.
Yes.
I'm inclined to agree.
I do think that it is wise counsel that we return and assess and spread this information to our people. And that we see you tomorrow. We owe you a game, I believe.
I did.
And
that is true. Although you didn't say it would be tomorrow.
I did not. But if tomorrow is the time that works, we can talk while we play. Discuss the ramifications of this evening's events.
Sounds good. And do me a favor, if you would.
Of course.
If you see your aunt, tell her I'm mighty happy to not be leading her stupid army anymore. Grandfather.
I will send her your regards and let her know that you are enjoying your retirement.
That's what I said, isn't it?
That's what I heard.
I am certain, Mr. Bloodbeard, turning back to Ken, that House Chiron will be eager to host you and Lady Brightweaver at some point.
All right. I'll be sure to have Talia check the door for booby traps.
We will check as well.
We do
have some, security around, and hopefully, gosh, so we're going to have to start checking for. Yes, we should head out. This is.
All right. Would you like any of my guards to escort you back home, or will you be all right this evening?
Oh.
No, I think that we will be okay.
We'll move quicker, just the two of us, I think.
Very well. Safe travels.
Yes, have a restful evening, such as you can. Tomorrow.
Walk through the shattered remains of the door back outside.
Our...
Sorry, can I ask a very quick question of you?
Yes.
From the flashback, Lady Brightwood had given a player that's no longer joined with us the address for her house. I'm not sure how we're handling that in game, but do one of us have it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that house in this neighborhood?
Neighborhood, yes.
Okay, so like in the larger area, it is roughly around here.
You could say it's within a few blocks, probably. Yeah. I do want to check in with Jethrin quickly before he will need to leave, and then we can close out any exchange of information and the rest of the episode. Jethrin, you have discovered that this person has the scent of Prince Tunak to the T. What would you like to do with that information?
Murdoch?
Tunak, yeah, sorry. Two different names. Yeah. Crown Prince Murdoch. It has, the individual has his scent, exactly.
I sort of stand up off the cot or whatever it is that is in my cell and just slowly begin putting my things on, and I have a little bit of a smile on my face, and I say to the man that I've called Bob, you know, I've met a lot of people in my time in my service as a paladin and to the service of House Chiron. And I never forget how someone smells. I'm sure we'll be good friends going forward. And I will take my leave of you for the day.
Of course. Life begets life. Death begets death. Fight for life. And you see the figure pulls out of their shirt a holy symbol of Honest Vitae.
You know, if you are a follower, the what do I call the person? The Grand Cleric of the what do I call them?
I think his title officially was Enlightened One.
The Enlightened One has asked that followers of Nospite make their way to the temple in 3 or so months.
And so I will be there.
I look forward to our next meeting.
I do as well.
And Jethrin is going to leave because he was told that he could leave, and he's going to hopefully make his way home.
You do so. You leave without any problems. You did not state the phrase, so to your knowledge, that does not mean that the exchange of information has stopped or would no longer be possible in the future. And thinking back on it, once you sorted out the smell, that voice did sound really familiar.
Yeah, I mean, so I believe it's the Crown Prince, yes?
The smell was the same and the voice was the same.
That's good. I gave the impression that I know, and I want you to know that I know, but we're not going to say that I know by the word that I gave. Yeah.
All right.
And I will make my way directly to Kashad.
Sounds good. We will check in on that conversation in the next episode. I do want to let you go. I'm gonna just pop over to close out everything with everyone else. But I know you have stuff to get off to, so no worries there. So back to Mare and Timmons. You all are going back directly to Kashad.
Yeah.
When they get there, Kashad, are you calling back Shay or having Albrea woken up or anything?
Stealthing back.
Yes, very
Very
stealthy.
clearly stealthing back.
You do not need to roll. You do move stealthily, but nothing gets in your way.
I don't know where the other two people even are at the moment. Well, I imagine Shay's sleeping. Gashad is just playing chess with himself, so.
Okay. Mare and Timmons, you see Kashad playing chess with himself.
Hello, brother. Sorry
Sister,
to interrupt.
why are you injured?
A door exploded on me.
Why did a door explode?
That's the question. So we went, and I relay the story of the journey in the house and the note. Sort of nudged Timmons to show Kashad the piece of paper in the thieves' cant and get him up to speed. And so the problem is that we don't know who really is the target. Was it us? Was it the general's son? Was it the grandfather? Is it Lady Talia Brightweaver? Like, we don't... Anyone could have been targeted by the glyph. Or whatever it was that caused the door to explode.
Is there anything that you remember that was different or strange, specifically at the first location you all went to?
Other than being pretty well cleaned, if they left a note for us specifically, deliberately, they did a fairly decent job of hiding it, and they would have had to know that we'd be able to translate it.
No signs of other people being there. And when you were before the explosion, was there anyone else perhaps moving around oddly at the time?
There were two people on their porch further down the street, but that wasn't odd. And we did run into the Spellweavers. We ran into Damien Spellweaver and a woman named Carla. Not sure, Timmons, but did you catch if Carla was his wife?
I just assumed, honestly, with the outfits they were wearing together, but I didn't ask. I was a bit busy being a mother. Suddenly.
What do you have on such odd clothing, both of you?
We thought that if we were going to go investigate a gambling establishment, it would probably be best not to go as ourselves.
Timmons just hunches a little bit and redons the disguise for like half a second and then begins to actually take it all off.
Suppose that makes sense. Though I doubt you two will be able to make such a similar trip again. This is interesting.
I did have a interesting discussion with Mr. Bloodbeard, the son of General Bloodbeard, the grandson of the retired General Bloodbeard. I'm not sure if you know that his current partner is Lady Talia Brightweaver.
Oh, did I know that, DM? Did I know that already? So where?
You know that the general's son was dating Lady Talia Brightweaver? Nope. But last you heard she was interested in women, so you've learned a bit more about her. You've learned a bit more about her preferences.
She was hitting on your sister.
Yeah, canonically, she is actually bisexual. So,
Well, we can confirm that whoever created this trap is a potent spellcaster. DM, do I know like what circle spell would?
I was gonna ask the same question, but I'm not intelligent enough to.
Well, are you proficient in Arcana?
Yes.
Roll it.
Oh boy. Somebody go wake up Shay. Yeah. 16.
That is enough to identify that it is at least 2 circles beyond the magic that is internal to you. It would at least need to be 4th or higher.
Yes. That is a potent spell. So it was hardly an accident. One does not use such resources to kill riffraff.
The General Bloodbeard felt that with the security of the place and like the lines, a person doing such a spell would need to be invisible. I don't understand personally how any of this works, but maybe that gives you some sort of clue.
It's possible, but I wasn't there, so I wouldn't be able to see if there was someone hiding. But with the invisibility, I can do myself, so the part doesn't narrow it down.
Can you be invisible and also cast a glyph while staying invisible?
I don't think so. Dean, could I do that? I don't know if that would that break invisibility enough?
I think you. This is Aaron. I think you have to have greater invisibility.
With that roll of 16, you would know that greater invisibility exists and could perform this. You would also know with the 16 Arcana that there are magical items that allow you to perform things that might require concentration while using the item as a focus as opposed to your own concentration.
Doing both of those together would be difficult, but it could have been done by someone powerful or wealthy, I suppose. But I don't know why anyone would be particularly interested in killing other people. It wouldn't particularly destroy the house. You are to not speak to anyone or offend anyone while you're out, correct?
We didn't offend anyone. The only people we spoke to were the spell weavers. They pointed us in the direction of the address, but the address matched, and they didn't recognize us.
They seem to be telling you the truth. You're confident in that?
They told us the truth about where to find the address that we had written down. Whether we didn't really give them any details about where we were going or why, obviously they knew where we were going, but not why. Could just be coincidence.
When one asks for directions, generally one wants to get the correct way to go.
Well, there are a number of coincidences, but I suppose the most important thing is that the two of you appear to at least mostly be alright.
How healed up did Mare get with that healing potion?
You know, I was just thinking about that. I didn't.
Because I am more than happy to heal you a bit more.
That's 5, 6, 7. So that's another 7. So that puts me at.
No, hold on. Let me roll it.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. This is a special one.
Oh, okay.
16.
Oh, nice.
6 is 22.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm almost full up. So yeah, we're about to go to bed anyway. I'd assume. So
No,
yeah.
I'm gonna reach over and touch you and heal you one more time. We get attacked
Well,
yeah, you're back to full.
This
Thank you.
is a mess. Where is Jethrin?
I don't know. I thought he was with you.
He was supposed to be watching the two of you. Did he not go?
No, he went.
Jethrin didn't walk with us, right? Like we walked and he walked, but we weren't aware of what he was doing. Or am I misremembering that?
No, he did not walk with you directly. He was going to observe what was happening to you all from a bit of a distance and became otherwise occupied.
Yeah. Damn it.
The lines of communication fell through. He was supposed to be keeping an eye, and then we got wrapped up in our thing, and really it's our fault for not checking back in with him, but we didn't quite know where he was, and you know, we were mostly fine, and it's easier to sneak around without. He's very obvious.
Be that as it may, your safety is the most important. I will wait for him a little longer. Please go and get yourself cleaned up. You're quite odd.
Yes, no, a hot bath. Do you see this? I'm covered in ash, and I'm pretty sure my own blood. This is awful.
We'll reconvene in the morning to discuss what we've all learned. Yes, there are very interesting events happening.
Indeed, too much, but hopefully we can resolve this quickly and without too much more violence.
Did we pass Abrea on the way in, sleeping outside?
Abrea, it depends on if you came in the front or in the back. Abrea is sleeping out back.
I don't know. We were stealthing. I don't know. Would I enter the front door when the last front door exploded? Probably through the back.
I don't know. I would have trusted our house.
I don't. But if you want to go through the front door, that's fine. Just Timmons will go first, and you will be not anywhere near the door when I open.
That's fair.
Right, was there anything else?
If there was, I don't know if it was important enough to. I think that was it. Did anything else happen? A lot happened. Oh, there's this marvelous game. We're going to have to play it. You stack wooden blocks on top of each other. I'm not sure what happens next, but I'm supposed to play it tomorrow.
I don't believe you've even finished learning how to play Dragon Chess. You should start another one.
Yes, but this seems a lot less complicated. Fewer pieces.
Very well, you're free to do as you please with your free time, as long as you are respectful.
Do you all have specific other details to exchange in this conversation? We're going to fast forward the estimates.
I just want to get permission from Kashad to extend a formal invitation to Lady Brightweaver. You can tell what I've been watching. To Lady Brightweaver and
Do not.
Mr. Bloodbeard. To have them
That is
over.
acceptable. That is acceptable.
Can I ask you a?
I will say, by the way, just because I know Timmons will care, it would technically still be Sir.
Oh, Timmons definitely cares. That's why I asked if he had a title, and you said no.
That being a
Timmons
knight
cares
is
about this more than anything.
Okay. Listen, being a knight is not a title in my head, which I know doesn't make a lot of a sense, because to me it was obvious he would be a knight, being that he's in line to be the next general. But I do now see where I have messed up in this. But yes, he would be a sir.
Okay, Kira, I'm gonna need you to go through and take every single time I've said Mr. Bloodbeard and dub it over.
That would actually, one, be super funny, but
Okay, I've said it the whole time.
Sir Bloodbeard.
Was there a 2 for that, or was it the only? I thought that you said one. He's a sir. Was there a second point that you needed to raise? Okay, maybe that was just me. You know what? I haven't had a lot of sleep. I could have just made that one.
I might have also been using it in, like, I don't know, a postmodern sense or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, sarcastically, right? Like, one, this, and that's it. I don't know.
Mr. Kashad, I did have a little bit of a delicate question for you.
Speak your mind.
I know that you and this party all those years ago, where we initially met Lady Brightweaver, you and she seemed to get along quite well. You had some similar opinions on matters. I believe she's quite prodigious with the arcane.
Indeed.
Do you believe her capable of doing this?
Most likely. I'm no master of the arcane, but I imagine something like this is probably within her abilities.
I remember her as a person more likely to be feared than loved. This is not, you understand, an insult or a slight, but merely a statement of her priorities.
I understand what you mean. There's no need to be concerned over your word choice. You're fine.
Well, we spoke before about being prepared and the enemies that one might be. Do you believe she can be counted among our allies?
There are very, very few allies, I suppose, in this world, unfortunately. But from what I understand, we have no reason to be enemies with her. No, I see no reason why she would want to kill either of you, nor do I believe that she would choose to do so in such a messy fashion.
As you say, sir, I am concerned with the number of unknowns.
As am I.
Well, do you need anything?
For now, go and get some rest, both of you. I will wait here for Jethrin to return.
See you in the morning, Mr. Kashad.
Good morning, brother.
We're shooting ahead in the timeline. It's about 20 minutes after midnight. Jethrin stands outside the Kyran estate.
I go in to see if Master Kashad is awake.
Where are you waiting for him, Kashad?
In the study.
Okay. You imagine you can find him in his study if he's awake?
Likely. I shall make my way there.
And there you find him.
Returned?
I have. I have had a very interesting evening, my lord. Might I ask you, that trick you do, where you are able to see if there is anything invisible in our presence, would you mind doing that for us?
Yes. I will see invisibility.
Are you just checking the study for right now?
Yeah.
You don't see anything invisible in the study.
And I will use my what's-a-name feature that I do know the name of, but I'm not saying, to test you, to speak to his mind. But telepathic speech. Yes. Is there something wrong?
A great deal, potentially, and I will relay all of the details, as long as, including my suppositions that I made in chat, if the details of the other events have been relayed to Jethrin as well.
Come walk with me. He'll say that part out loud. And then he'll walk through the halls using see invisibility to see if there's anything invisible. And then telepathically he'll say, "First, it is good that you are all right. It appears that the ladies faced a similar but different problem."
My apologies for being taken in that way. Otherwise, I hopefully would have been able to shield them from that.
There's no need to apologize for things beyond our control. But it does appear that things are becoming far more dangerous than they were before. This man you spoke with, you're certain that it was the prince, yes?
Yes, my lord. He has a very distinctive scent.
So there's one prince saying that it is indeed the queen's actions, and another saying it wasn't. That is a precarious position to be in.
Kashad,
Yes.
you see what appears to be a small, invisible little sensor hanging over the gate to your residence.
Using my knowledge of the arcane, would I recognize it as like being something designed to watch?
Roll me an Arcana check.
Dang it.
We're in a new area. Need a new
the wizard? 16. Where's the wizard? Someone get the wizard.
Same as last time, but pretty good. You believe it's some sort of sight-based scrying magic.
He'll stop for a moment, then he will turn around. He will reestablish the thingy because it wears off after a certain amount of minutes. It appears that someone is watching us, Jethrin.
This was my concern, my lord.
Right. I've ordered the others to take a break for now.
My lord.
It is soon, but I want for you to grab some of the soldiers who are still awake and troll around for a bit. Can you do that?
Of course. If the Queen is responsible for these things, my lord, my personal belief is that perhaps the Archmage might be controlling her. However, your cousin does not share my belief.
But for now, it is, if there is any justice with the divine, that will not be the case. There's very little I can do to stop that, man.
I wonder, for the sake of the Goldheart family, if perhaps we should arrange a kidnapping.
That would be daring. Possible, but daring.
At least of the Lady Goldheart. That way, if it is true what the Queen is capable of, the Goldhearts will still have an heir somewhere outside of the country.
Do you believe she would leave? Do you believe she would leave someone behind? Don't believe she would be willing to leave without assisting her kin first.
I wouldn't leave someone behind, my lord. Hence the suggestion of a kidnapping.
She's quite a powerful person.
Indeed.
I will need time to think about it. Well, for now, ensure that there's no one else around here. I will go and check on both my sister and Timmons. Please ensure that Aubrey hasn't gotten himself up to exploring or some such again. But if someone wants us out of the way...
I wonder about that. It is a question above game there. Did you describe the exploding trap and all the details and stuff to Jethrin?
Yes, so it is.
Okay.
All the knowledge that I have of it.
Okay. It occurs to me that that trap could have been not exactly a trap. It could have been designed to avoid the young sir stabbing your sister and Miss Timmons to death.
To avoid it? I believe it was to ensure that they would not be able to meet with him quietly, yes?
I think it's to ensure that the man did not react poorly to strangers showing up at his house. A bit
They
brash.
did seem to speak as if he was a unique individual, so it is possible. But I imagine there would have been better ways than blowing them up, I assure you. My sister's injuries were no warning.
True. A lot to think on. But
Indeed.
I will check on Master Brea and then begin night's watch.
Make sure to rest as well. There's no need to push yourself too far.
Your cousin is a good man, my lord.
I hope so.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm going to spend time checking the rooms with my magic eyes.
I don't know if this conversation would take so long that you would run into Timmons, who, after the conversation with you, would have gone through to check on all of the household staff, as well as to make sure that Lady Chiron was back in her room before she headed to her room. So I don't know, timing-wise, if you'd run into Timmons or if Timmons has done this and is now back in her room.
Did you want to speak with Kashawn? Did you want to say something?
Me? No. I was just, Timmons would run through, like, after what they've just been through, would run through all of the household staff to make sure that everyone was okay.
I think it was probably after, because he spoke with Jethro for a while.
Yes.
After.
It's like you guys got back around 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's well after midnight when they're having this conversation. Kishad, do you go through the entire house and the grounds as well?
Yes.
Make me a wisdom saving throw.
God dang it. Dungeon man. God dang it. 17.
You feel this tugging sensation. Almost like something is trying to cancel the spell that you have activated. As you walk into the backyard and see Tunok leaned up against the wall, lazily watching over Abrea, and another scrying sensor directly over Abrea, watching them. That sensor tries to cancel your spell, but you manage to resist the intrusion.
Do I recognize who would do this? I don't know if magic has like colors like it does in movies. This is color-coded magic to like blue for the Archmage, green for someone else.
Magic might have particular resonances associated with it. You've probably perused enough of your great-grandfather's books, the one who actually originally established Darkstar as a city and led to the country being established a couple of generations ago. He was an Archmage, and so you're probably relatively familiar with the abilities of an Archmage. You don't even know of any references to Archmages that could do magic, like trying to counterspell a random spell that they couldn't possibly know that you have cast from within a scrying spell. It's like layered magic. It's very weird. Not something that even an Archmage should be possible of.
No.
I will say with that, it's enough to convince you that it's probably at least someone with a minor deity level of power. Some sort of divine intervention or clerical
Is it the Archfey? Is it the
blessing
goddamn
of
Archfey? It's the
something.
Archfey. The Fae, isn't it? God dang it. Well, Kishot's not playing games. He's gonna go pick up Aurea and the little coddling and carry them to his room, to their room.
Okay. You carry them to the room. Tunok sort of gets up, follows you to make sure that you guys get inside fine, lets you kind of lay Abrea down in their room. Do you leave the no name yet outside, or do you bring them along with Abrea?
No, he's bringing a little godling thing with Aurea.
Okay. You bring them inside. Make me a perception check.
I am a sorcerer. I don't do these. Hey,
You
not
don't.
bad.
You
19.
do not. You do. What is this stuff? You guys will not only need to make checks that you're especially good at. Sometimes other checks are required. But
I'm
19.
not good at any checks, sir. So
19 is enough. Needing to move them so that you can properly carry them and have Tunok help you move them inside, you recognize that the sensor isn't actually over Abrea. It's actually over No Name Yet.
interesting. Well, I will deliver them, and then I'm going to go to the library and read about the gods and the angels and all of that to learn, to understand what's going on.
Okay. Do you have proficiency in religion yet?
Nope. I have Arcana. I don't have a lot of proficiencies. 4.
Okay.
I got history. I have history. Of that. Does that count? Is that the same thing?
Sure. Start out by making me a history check.
Oh, it's 11.
We will mark you down with a sort of starting the process towards a proficiency with religion. It's up to you how far you want to push that, but that's kind of how this is going to go in terms of general information. You learn not much. You realize that you probably need access to your great grandfather's books again if you're going to try to really make any sort of headway on this, or an equivalent sort of resource. He's probably doesn't have the only library with such knowledge in the whole world, after all.
Yeah, we're studying. We're learning.
Okay.
I'll be at that, and that's it, I think.
Does anyone have any remaining things they'd like to do before we close out this episode? I think everyone is now going to sleep, and we will start tomorrow in the next episode.
All
right.
All right, so we'll go ahead and wrap up. We hope you enjoyed this first episode of Intrigue, Mayhem, and Chaos. Again, if you like what you see here, definitely feel free to join us in our Discord. You should see the link in the description below, where we have a section for spoilers as well for non-spoilers. And definitely like to hear what your theories are about this series. So with that said, we'll see you next week for our next episode of Reclamation. But until then, farewell for now.